Hey guys, James Wilson-Taylor here for Rock Sound. It's another of our video calls. We are catching up with everybody while we're all at home, and I'm delighted to say from Biffy Clyro, Simon's on the line. How are you, man?
Hey James, I'm good. I'm surviving. How are you getting on?
Not too bad, not too bad. Much the same. Yeah, that's kind of how we've started all these off, is making sure I hope you and, the family, you're staying as well and safe as you can in this time. And I got to say credit to you as well, because I think you were maybe the first person I saw doing the live stream trend that is now everywhere. Talk to me a little bit about how your lockdown's been going for you.
Yeah, I mean, like everyone else, we're just kind of in shock for the first little while. I immediately started doing live sessions, and I think part of it was to feel like I was in control of something. Like all control got taken away and our album got postponed, and I think it was the only thing I could do to kind of feel that I was doing something, and also just to feel a part of it. I think at points for all of us during this lockdown, at points we felt so isolated, and then at other times you feel that we're all doing it together, we're all going through it together. And you're never quite, I feel more in control of those emotions now, but during the start of it, it was like I didn't know what each week or each day would bring, and I'm sure you were the same. But see, just to know that there's people out there as well feeling the same way, that's the one thing. I wish I could have engaged face to face with everyone, but just to know there was people watching and caring, it was like, oh good, none of us are alone here. And that is the beauty of music in general, is even when you listen to a record by yourself, you still feel like you're a part of something. I feel very kind of lucky to be in this world, in this culture,
Absolutely, and I think that's something everyone's going to feel when this record finally drops. I've heard it. I will get right to it. I absolutely love this record, mate. I'm a fan of yours. I'm a fan of your work. I genuinely think there's some of the best stuff you've written on this, and we'll come on to that because I've so much I want to say about it, mate. But first, I want to start with that title, because I've heard you say a few times before and kind of hint at it, you kind of feel often that things work in threes with you guys. It sort of feels like you kind of move in eras in that way. And if we're counting Balance Not Symmetry, then this is the 9th record, right? So do you feel like this is the end of an era for you guys? Were you reflecting putting this together?
No, not really reflecting putting it together. I mean, what you said is true. I think Balance, which wasn't originally going to be part of this trilogy, making it, like, Celebration of Endings wouldn't be what it is without that record. And the reason Balance was so important to us as a band is we got to make this record with it was just the three of us and a producer, Adam Noble, who's unbelievable. We didn't have to worry about how we were going to talk about the record, about having a single or doing videos and things, and see the simplicity of that. It really informed how we wanted to work and record for a Celebration of Endings, and it was a lot more about trusting our instincts, initial instincts, not like overthinking things and talking things through too much, not complicating things for the sake of it. So it helped in that regard. I do feel like we maybe are at the end of the 3rd chapter. I feel like I'm not sure exactly yet, because since the lockdown started, James, I've not thought about the record as much as I normally would. Normally by the time it's out, we've played it a bunch live, I've considered it, I've listened to it a lot, and then we start touring and kind of move forward. We haven't hit that point yet. First of all, the 3-month delay, I think out of a bit of defense mechanism, I haven't listened to the album for a while, not thought about it, so it still feels fresh to me right now, but it's fucking weird, man. It's really, I feel like it's not getting to fully grow into what it should, because we're not going out live. But having said that, it's maybe the time. That's what's made me already think it could be the end of this trilogy. Because I've been thinking about it in different ways, and because I'm now thinking that we'll be going in as a band to record new music before we'll go on the road. And I need to get my head in check. So if you ask me this again in 2 weeks, or whenever this interview goes out, but once the album's out, I know I'll be like, I'm on to the next thing, and I'll have a proper full answer for you there. But at the moment, I'm still a little bit kind of like, it's just, we're almost there, that way. I can feel I can feel the tingling going, because I'm close to thinking about where we go next, because it happens as soon as that as well. Like, I don't want to wait a year and be like, all right, and what do we do now? Like, it needs to be just that instinct I'm talking about, if it feels right. But who knows? Rap. That's what do.
That's what's coming next. The EDM bangers, they're coming.
Exactly.
But it's funny you say that, though, because I remember last time we chatted I think it was around MTV Unplugged, so pre-Balance. But I remember you saying that the stuff you were doing for Balance Not Symmetry was already making you think about what has become a celebration of endings. Was that just in terms of the working structure, or were there specific moments and musical styles that really hit home for this one as well?
I think there's a few extreme moments in Balance. After the Unplugged, which is obviously quite, it's not intense. It's not an extreme thing doing an Unplugged. So I think when we made Balance, things like the electronics we really took to the extreme. Like I started screaming again in that record, which I hadn't done for a while, and I think it opened something up inside me again. I think I'm not sure whether there was nothing to scream about for me, or whether I'd just lost that part of my voice. And making that record reminded me that I like the part of the music and the part of our band that I love so much is that people don't quite know what they're going to get. Some people love one song and hate another. And actually, that excites me so much. And Balance really felt like that kind of record. We kind of we went nuts on that one. It was obviously attached to a movie, which gave us a bit more free reign in that regard. But it made me think, we shouldn't be afraid of doing anything here. And I think when you're making your 8th or 9th records, it's so easy to just think, let's just do what we know we're good at. And I still want to find out what we're shit at. That's my entire raison d'etre is like just to try enough things so that you find a few things you're good at, but you've tried at least everything once that you're shit at as well. Like, why the fuck?
Nice. Make your own shit list. That's good.
Yeah, exactly.
That again, but at least we tried it.
I'm the top 10 of my own shit list.
Yeah, that's a good attitude to have. I like that a lot. I've got to dive into some specific moments. I want to start with something that people haven't heard yet. I'm not sure when this will go out, but people certainly haven't heard it yet. But genuinely, I say this completely honestly, no bullshit. I think it's one of the best things you've ever written, and that's a song called Space. I think it's absolutely beautiful, mate.
Oh, thank you,
and it's really, really lovely. And the thing I think is most interesting about, and I want to get your opinion on, it seems like one of those songs that, especially when people hear it in this weird time, it kind of takes on a new meaning. I'm sure, obviously, you didn't write it about this situation of people being, scattered all over the country and maybe not being able to see loved ones. But for me, listening to those lyrics, it's weird how that's taken on such a different kind of relevance now in that way.
There's been quite a lot of lyrics. I wrote the record got written kind of at a moment of big change for us as a band. Like professionally, we kind of our relationships changed with a couple of people that was quite intense and not desired. So it was an enforced change. And what we said? Yeah. And so like what I was singing about was this kind of like not to be afraid of that enforced change, and like the album kind of has that sentiment of let's make the most of a bad situation. And I feel like what we've had to all deal with this year is something that we could never possibly have imagined. But the things I was singing about, they will have much more kind of piss and vinegar to them, because now it's like there's specific things that I know that these lines will apply to. And as you say, it's things that, like Space to me was almost a more innocent kind of song than that. It's like very, very sincere song, but it's about that connection you have with people no matter where your life takes you, and that just wanting to find your way back. Those people that you have that real comfort with, that no matter how long you don't see them, you're a part of each other's lives. There's a real harmony to getting back together, and I think that's what we're kind of craving at the moment. I mean, I have to say though, even a lot of my favourite records, listening back to, even lyrics and things have changed meaning when I'm listening to them in lockdown. I'm hearing lines and going, oh fuck, so it's weird to have made this record. We've known about it, you've heard it and things, but people are only hearing it after everything we've been through. And there's a part of me that's glad it wasn't like a summer reggae record we made. That would have been hard to discuss at this moment in time. So you know what, it's I'd much rather have it this way round, but it's freaking me out at certain points. It really is, and in Space especially, as you say.
Yeah, no, beautiful song though. Congratulations on that one in particular, genuinely. And I want to talk about some of the moments that, of course, people have heard with Instant History. I mean, what's most interesting about that? It's a big kind of, for want of a better phrase, the festival anthem kind of side of what you guys do, which is always good to see. But that production in particular, I feel like is some kind of new modes for you guys and works very nicely. Talk to me about the approach to that track in particular there.
So that was, like, there's a couple of songs in this record that I wrote when I was in the studio, not during the making of the album, but so say in Ellipsis, our last album, I wanted like at least half of that to not be like band songs. And there's some songs in that record that maybe when I look back, I'm like, oh, that might have could have been a different beast with a band. This time I did. We had the songs, and I had a few that I'd done on keyboard with my friend John and some of my friend Steve and things. And a few of these songs were kicking around, and we tried to play a couple of them as the band. And we were trying to like basically fit a round hole in a square shape. Now we're a rock and roll band always, but for me that song, it couldn't, if it tipped over into being a rock sound, it doesn't have the movement for it. You know, like you kind of have to be a slave to the song. I know that sounds like such a load of shit, but honestly, see, certain songs will just tell you what they need. That song was all about the space of it. And what I'm proudest of in that song, I've always wanted to write a song with one chord pattern through the whole thing. And I'm sure that's probably, some people hate it for that reason and all that, but that's really quite hard to do. So I took it as a little bit of a test, a challenge, that I wanted to write a song that didn't have the dynamics of a rock band, but did the same thing, you know, so almost writing the song backwards. And I think that's why we ended up in this more kind of electronic sound, because it just didn't work bringing it backwards, bringing it into the band thing. And it also, by that point, we had all the other most other songs as well. So the album was taking shape. We knew which songs weren't going to make the album. We knew which songs, you know, were needed. And also, I just like doing different things. Again, it's like, I'd rather find out we can't do something and try it than not try it. And as a first single especially, even with the lyric, "This is the sound that we make," the irony is it's like the least Biffy sounding song we've ever released. But yeah, that's the lyric, you know, and it, you know, and that's what I'm singing about, believing in who you are and your opinion and things, and that kind of reflects in that song that yeah, this is a different song for us, but this is the sound we fucking make. Like, I'm not going to apologise for anything we do as a band, but it's, having rehearsed the song now, it feels weird to do it live, because at this point we're trying to bring it into our world. So I think we've got it in a really good place. I'm not going to stand like fucking Simon Le Bon, don't worry about that.
Just cue in a synthesizer. Let's go. It's happening. Sorry, lads, if you're watching, you're out for this one. Never mind. It's going to be really interesting to hear the stuff live, and that links on very nicely. At the time of recording, kind of just announced big return next summer to Download Festival, which is so exciting, and such a, you know, obviously, as you well know, a very unique position on the festival calendar, that one. Proper rock festival. What are your memories of headlining it last time around and playing all these years ago?
It was overwhelming. I kind of see, every time we play like a big show the first time you do it, it like flies by. You barely remember it, but you just think you've got like a happy emotion with it, but it kind of flies by and it's really hard to take on board. So the second time, I'll be able to soak it all up a lot better. Download in Donington, I mean, such an important part of our education as a band, about everything, the way I get into music, that's our world. So see when you get invited to play something, and also it's the bands that play there, it still blows my mind, you know, that like, it's like Iron Maiden and Kiss and System of a Down and fucking Metallica and then little Biffy Clyro in there, you know, and that blows my mind. So I still get that right. More than any other gig, it makes me feel like a teenager again. I feel like a youngster on the bill, you know. I'm like fucking Kiss on the first night, you know what I mean? And fucking System of a Down, I mean, they're the youngsters. They were the youngsters, you know, that night. But it's fab. I just love that festival so much. We first played it, I think, in 2004. We played it probably 7 times over the years. We've done every stage. But yes, see, to headline the sacred ground, it honestly means the world. And anyone who's a metal fan knows exactly what I'm talking about. If it's not on your radar, go fuck yourself. But they know what I'm talking about.
Hey man, 100,000 people next summer. Cannot wait. It's going to be big. Very exciting. Very exciting. Couple of quick questions. I know you've got to go shortly, but I just generally want to ask really about what you are aiming for next. I know you've talked a little bit about Marmaduke Duke stuff maybe, or some other side projects, that kind of thing, and it sounds like you're already thinking about what's next for Biffy. Where's your head at in terms of what the future will bring?
Well, at the moment, still come to terms with no live touring, so that I'm finally got my head around that. So I think the next 6 months, to a year, I'm just going to create. I just want to make music. So we've already got, as always with Biffy, we've got another 15 songs that didn't make the cut for the album. So we're going to get in as soon as we can and record them, and hopefully, you know, release that in some form. I'm really keen to make. I've been working on this kind of grindcore extreme metal record with Mike Venart, who plays with us live, and that's going to be called Empire State Bastard, we've already got 10 or 11 songs from this. We just need to kind of get it up to a little more, and then we'll chunk that down. I'm doing a drone project called Tippy Toes, which we've done 3 songs for, and that's with my friend Gambler from the band and Martin Scott, who used to drum in Aerogram. We're good friends. And then I've got the Marmaduke record. So there's all these kind of like things blowing in the breeze that I finally have a chance to kind of pull together and tie down. Because normally it'd be like 18 months on the road, and then I'll consider those projects then. I've been trying to focus on the positive of that freedom of being able to go straight back into the studio, working on stuff that we're not thinking about playing live as well. You know, that's a strange kind of place to inhabit. Having said that, as soon as we can get out and play, we will, James. You know that we're going to announce a few shows for like potentially April. We're going to try and do six or 7 kind of smaller shows just to see the logistics if it's going. We're calling it the Fingers Crossed Tour.
Good title, solid title.
It's just that way. Because we really want to do the big tour. We don't want to book that for fucking April and then we have to cancel it, because not to get all logistic and practical about it, it costs us a fuck, you know.
No, of course.
Fortune to outlay for a tour of that. So we want to make sure that the live thing is happening. But I do feel liberated. We're doing this performance in a couple of weeks in the night of the album release. That, and see to work on a live show that isn't presented just one way to a crowd. I've really been trying to embrace the kind of creative challenges of that and how we can do things different. So like, we've gone full epic. Ben's gone full Ulrich. He's got like 4 fucking drum kits all over the place. We've got amps. It could be one of the best things we have ever done, and I don't want to tempt fate. But so I'm enjoying the little new challenges and how to present a live show, because see, live streams do not replace a live show. Live broadcasts don't. Even when I watch a DVD or coverage of like a gig I was fucking at, or you watch like Download Festival where there's 100,000 people, it's still hard to even get that energy across.
No, of course, yeah.
People are there, so why try and recreate it? Like, so we're trying to create something different, that intensity, that intimacy in a different way. So it's really exciting. But I'm sure, like a lot of people, we've all had to readdress what our plans were for the foreseeable future, and I feel lucky that I get to make music for a living, and I'm going to embrace that to its very core.
No, it's exciting. I'm glad you've been using your time in that way. It's really exciting to hear when people have been able to be creative in this strange time in that way.
I think initially I was like almost in shock. Like I felt like my mind wasn't even working the first month. You know, I was the first week I thought, I'll go in and record straight away, and then I'm sure, like as always, kind of like find yourself just sitting thinking all the time and worrying, and it's only now that I think we're all starting to liberate our brains. I know things aren't exactly easy, but we've all realised we've got to make the most of what we have just now. You know, it's not ideal, but let's take everything we can do and new skills we can learn. Let's fucking do it.
Absolutely. They're very wise words. I'll leave you with one very silly question that I've always wanted to ask you, and I'm just going to throw it in while we got a second here. I don't know if I told you this before, but when I was in college, of all places, we used to do this workout class. And the opening was they'd make us run around the room as many times as possible till living is a problem because everything dies. And so my mate reminded me of this the other day when I said I was going to talk to you. And he was like, you've got to ask him, is that the best Biffy workout tune, or is there other ones in the arsenal?
I think probably Golden Rule might be a better workout tune. Or if you want to go mental, probably Jaggy Snake or Wave Upon Wave or something. But living will keep you on your toes, that's for sure. That's
Tell you what.
Maybe it's a bit sad, but that's made me feel like $1 million there.
I'm sure the gym trainer that put us all through hell will be delighted to know that at least you get a kick out of it.
I love that. I love it when your music makes its way into someone's routine or habit in ways that you couldn't possibly imagine. So fucking right.
There we go. Good to hear. There you go. If you're watching this, Simon's happy with that decision at least. There you go. Simon, it's always a pleasure to chat to you, man. Album's great. Look forward to seeing you guys on the road when you can do, and all the best to you and your family.
Oh, thank you, James. Pleasure as always, my brother.
Good to speak to you, man. All right, Simon, everybody.